Speedrunning, one of WoW Classic's most divided and controversial communities. It seems like you either love it or you hate it. Personally, I love it. I love seeing people push the boundaries of what's possible and take ingenuity and creativity to the extreme in order to gain competitive edges and ultimately victory. Which in WoW Classic basically just means bragging rights and a pretty cool looking log. My first ever exposure to the speedrunning side of WoW Classic was AQ40 and the guild None of the Above in their very famous 26-minute AQ40 speedrun. I won't go into depth about Noda and their groundbreaking AQ40 strategies, but it's safe to say they really took it to the next level. They were never the guild to first clear anything, progress was always on top for that category, but you couldn't take away from their speed, their creativity, and their superior routing. This love for speedrunning stuck, and I followed Noda, Progress, Salad Bakers, and Noobs duke it out week after week in Naxxramas, constantly creating new routes, time saves, and strategies in order to be the fastest clear. Now a quick disclaimer. The idea of speedrunning a 15-year-old game is totally lost on some people, and I admit, it's a bit of a weird thing to enjoy, and it's not for everyone. And in all honesty, that's kind of the beauty of it. It doesn't have to be. It's this weird niche of the game that abuses a lot of really interesting mechanics, and it's not going to appeal to everyone, and that's fine. So with Progress taking the #1 spot in this world first race of SSC and TK, I thought it'd be a really cool idea to go over a lot of the strategies and show you guys a lot of the creativity that was used in order to achieve the result that they did. So we're going to have a look at Beef Bar perspectives, we're going to have a look at Progress and Tetsu's perspective, and a few other guilds that showed amazing creativity and executed them flawlessly to achieve some really fantastic results. Let's get into it. Now again, with no trash requirements, the most effective and the biggest time save a guild can do is skipping trash. There's a lot of trash in SSC and TK, so if you can find a way to not have to engage that and go straight to bosses, that is the biggest time save and ultimately what wins the race. Straight away we saw our first trash skip utilized by a lot of the top guilds, which was skipping the Hydross trash along this first platform here. How guilds avoided that was by using water walking and slow fall to go straight off the edge here on the left. And what Progress did is they went straight onto Lurker by going underneath. But what Beef Bar did is they performed the same skip using slow fall and water walking and went up the pipe before performing another skip using gnomish cloaking and rocket boots to invis past these packs here and engage Hydross from there. Let's see how they did it. Now Progress obviously did Lurker first, so now they need to do the same trash skip that Beef Bar has done. So what they do is they do Lurker, they got the pipe here. Now what they do is they send one hunter, he invis pots ahead of time, and he goes all the way through. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to pull the patrolling Bog Lord that goes between Hydross and that platform here. Unfortunately, he doesn't get it, and the pat is a little bit unfortunate, but the idea is that he would pull that ahead of time, and then the raid would rejoin, they would kill that patrol, and they would engage Hydross. While that's happening, another hunter goes up the same route, pulls the trash, and then presumably, we can't see because he's out of frame, but he would rocket boot, slow fall, I would imagine, and drag the mobs as far away as possible, allowing the rest of the raid to rejoin the first hunter. It's a really interesting strategy and requires great coordination, so let's see how they do it. G'day guys, sorry to interrupt the video, we'll get back to it in just a second. I'll try and be really brief. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who's been supporting the channel this month. I've experienced growth beyond my wildest dreams. We got well over 100 subscribers in the matter of 1 week on my last video. And with that, I wanted to just make an early donation just to show you guys how serious I was about this, and you guys could see that sort of tangible result. So I've gone ahead and I've made a donation early to SANE Australia to landmark 100 subscribers that I'd gained since that video. We've passed that by now, and we'll make another donation at the end of the month. But I just wanted to show you guys the impact you are having and say thank you so much for your support. I won't drag this out any longer. I want to get back to the video. But again, thank you so much, guys. By far, the coolest skip of the day goes to the guild GUSY, and in particular, the creator of the skip, Jampanos. He invented one of the coolest skips I've ever seen. I won't ruin it. I'll roll to the clip of Staysafe and his reaction. I think it tells everything you need to know about the skip, and I think his reaction is exactly what everyone else watching at home was thinking as well.
We have people going down the elevator here in the middle. This is GUSY. They actually launched themselves midway out of the elevator onto a top pipe that's otherwise inaccessible. Holy shit. What is GUSY? No shots. Wow.
So just the craziest skip you've probably ever seen. So creative, so inventive. Really props to Jampanos for putting in the hard work and the creativity to pull off something like that. So again, if you want to watch his video where he talks about how he came about knowing about it, how he managed to execute it, I'll put a video link in the description. So with Hydross and Lurker down for both raids, now comes the question is, we've got this trash pack here, we've got one here, another one here, and then we have one here. I think we have one here, and we have one here. And obviously the one in the doorway as well. So what both Beef Bar and Progress do is from the Lurker platform, they run below, they hit the wall, they can climb the wall, they can skip this pack here, and then they just pull this one in slightly in the doorway. So again, more trash skips using the water walking straight to the edge. And now it becomes a matter of, can you skip more trash inside? Or will your AoE damage matter a little bit more in clearing trash that is unskippable? Now I know there's a bit of an emphasis on Progress and Beef Bar in this video, but I think that's for a very good reason. They obviously finish within 1 minute of each other, but in terms of second and third, I think it was over 30 minutes. So clearly the leaders and the front runners here were Progress and Beef Bar, and they were doing something vastly different to what the main sort of crowd were doing. I think that comes down to a lot of skips and a lot of raid composition changes. I think despite Beef Bar and Progress being so close to each other, you know, finishing within 40 seconds or a minute of each other, they chose vastly different raid compositions, which is very interesting. Despite doing a lot of the same skips at the start, Progress continued to do a lot of skips throughout, even in Temper Skip, or particularly in Temper Skip, which we'll see. But Beef Bar chose not to do as many skips, but chose brute force in their raid composition choices, which we'll go into. Now this was Progress's logs for SSC and TK, including trash. You can see this is a very typical raid composition that we would see even in the most regular guilds. You have your warlock group where you'd have 3 warlocks, a boomkin, and the Ellie Shaman. You have your hunter group, which has the 3 BM hunters. You might have the enhance and the feral, or you might have the arms warrior in there as well. This is very single target heavy, I would say. Very good at killing bosses, but again, this lacks a lot of trash killing potential. And I think obviously this works when your plan is to skip most of the trash. But I think we'll see a big shake up in what Progress is doing now that there are trash requirements in a lot of speedruns. I say in a lot of speedruns, there are now trash requirements in all the speedruns, and we'll go through the rules in a second. But I wanted to compare that to Beef Bar. Now, this is an absolute sea of purple. They ran 9 warlocks. They had 4 warlock in one group and 4 warlocks in another group. One group of warlocks all had Atiash, and they had an Ellie Shaman, and the other warlock group had 4 more warlocks, presumably the warlocks that didn't have Atiash, and then another Ellie Shaman. They chose not to run any boomkins, and I think the logs speak for themselves really. They were just killing everything and anything What's interesting is I was watching the Beef Bar stream live, and in the end when they lost, they realized that, you know, Progress did so many more skips, and they actually said that they didn't think a lot of the skips were possible. So I think Progress, being the very experienced speedrunning guild, they ran Naxxramas, obviously heaps, they do heaps and heaps and heaps of PTR. And I think it came down to an experience difference. Progress is very much used to doing hunter skips, to using Petris, so on and so forth, that I think Beef Bar were just like, well, we only know how to do damage, so we're just going to spam Warlock damage, we're going to spam Seed of Corruption, and that's going to get us the win. And for how much trash Progress did skip, it's incredible that Beef Bar were that close and how close it became. And in saying that, I think with these trash requirements now in place, Beef Bar is very well set up for the meta. The meta will be, I have to kill a certain amount of trash. How can I do it most efficiently and as quick as possible? And that is with just 9 Warlocks and just using Seed of Corruption. Now, I think the speedrunning meta will very much be, how can I group up as much trash as possible? And how can we kill as much of it in one pool as possible? Because the trash requirements are quite large. For example, this is the trash requirements for SSC from now on. World first races are different. There are these do not apply to world first races, which is why we saw such a skip heavy race. But now this is all the required trash. You can't skip all this stuff that we saw them do. You can't go from Lurker to here and then do things from there. You have to clear every single one of these platforms. So now it comes to creativity of what we saw in Naxxramas with, you know, gigapools. I think we'll see a lot more of that. You know, we might see a lot more hunters pulling things together and using Petris. Now, I'm not exactly sure on the Petri limitation. I'm not sure if the same limitation that applied to Naxxramas will apply in TBC. I think it was 5 in combat Petris were allowed in Naxxramas, and I imagine something similar would apply for SSC and TK. But again, Beef Bar is very well set up to be able to clear a lot of this trash because they did. They know exactly what they're doing when it comes to doing damage, and I think that's where these things are headed. Just roll through a lot of these sort of smaller skips that we saw Progress utilize that Beef Bar did not. Again, they're getting summons out ahead of time. And we see that Hunter Pet fly across the room. Again, you can see now how they sort of get it done. I'm very surprised the pet lives so long, clearly taking a couple of hits there. But again, it's basically just a distraction in its essence. Pull everything there, allow everyone to go past not getting in combat, and then you just take the summon. Again, another great strategy here is the mage pull, which I thought was really interesting. Again, getting the nether mages out of the way with a good lot of CC helps so much. If you've done SSC, you know how annoying that pack is. But the bop and poly pull, really nice use of paladins there. And this was one that I thought was really interesting. You can see in the minimap here on the top right of your screen, that's actually a warlock leaving the fight and going off back into the room they just came from. And I can't for the life of me figure out where he is going and why. It's not mentioned in any videos so far, but I just thought it was interesting. If you know why he's going that way and why he's leaving the fight early, chuck it down in the comment section. I'm sure a lot of people are very curious. And if I don't hear, I'll know why. I know it's top secret. But again, here another pull, paladin pull. The paladin, I think, is obviously pulling because he can probably take a few hits while he rocket boots. But he's going to take it all the way into the far right corner, and they're going to come back the way they came. And you can see here he's, I think he's bubbled at the moment, and then he'll Petri out of the bubble. And the Petri drops combat. So he bubbles to keep the aggro so everyone can walk past. And then he'll Petri to, again, reset the aggro. This is the last sort of skip before they go to Lady Vashj. You can see, again, the hunters pulling away here. All of this trash. And it's really, again, a race against time. You've got to get everyone there. Again, they split up the hunters into each group so they can all get asked back to the pack. Use the rocket boots. Quickly use the controls and get that bridge constructed and get gets the rest of the raid summoned. Again, we just see Progress utilizing their game knowledge, utilizing their PTR experience with another skip of this entire corridor. Again, we see up the top there that Gnomish Cloaking is about to fall, and they use an invisibility pot for this final stretch. But again, this is a huge time save. Beef Bar do not do a similar skip, and they actually opted to clear all of the trash. I think it's kind of interesting. I feel like with enough PTR experience, I'm surprised that Beef Bar didn't think of this. But again, it might be that inexperience that we talked about. They're not as familiar with the speedrunning meta, the world first meta in particular, and how skip intensive it can be. Obviously, it can be hard to know what you're not doing when you don't have access to hindsight. But again, Progress, again, saving minutes off the clock. But Beef Bar do a tremendous job in killing trash and somehow keeping up and only getting it down to sort of 40 seconds by the end. Again, this is the first pack after you kill Olar. It's another skip that Progress utilize with hunters. We can see them all stacked up here in the corner. And Benbow, who is one of their old warriors from Naxxramas, everyone remembers Gnome Boy, that is now Benbow. And he is just a great player all around, and he pulls all of the dragons and all the ads. Everyone rocket booting, and you can see in the minimap he's still going, and he'll feign death as late as he possibly can. And again, by the time everyone gets back there, the grade has well and truly cleared the room. What's interesting is, and what people didn't realize, so I'll just pause the clip here, they obviously go do the boss then, and then because they've cleared the boss, or they've killed the boss, the trash despawns in the room, which is a really interesting interaction that I guess many hadn't considered and that Beef Bar was not aware of. As a result, I wonder if they had known that was a possibility, would they put a little bit more emphasis on the skips? Again, it's not a matter of, you have to skip both ways. It's you just skip to the boss, kill the boss, and then all the trash that you just skipped will just despawn and you can run back. So again, this clip just shows this is the exact corridor that they ran through with the rock boots, and all the trash is gone. Really interesting interaction. And again, this is very much a world first only kind of strategy with trash requirements now. A lot of this is totally null and void, and Progress will need to adapt to the new meta, which again, this kind of a comp that they're running is just not going to cut it. I think we'll definitely see a lot more of a Beef Bar patented comp. Again, Benbow pulling all of this trash. Look at all this trash. Just keeps on going. I think this is all the trash in the Astromancer room. Pulling all those, I would imagine, with the hunter pet, getting the sprinting around, collecting all of the trash, and then I don't know if eventually the pet dies and then that allows the trash to come to the hunter. I haven't seen the specifics of the skip, but again, he just pulls all the trash, feign deaths, and then they can kill that. Coming up to the final skip now. This is obviously the final trash for Kael Thas. So again, same old engineering abuse. Rocket boots and invis pot passed here. And something that we don't hear is people, if you do screw up this pull, you can just Petri and then you'll be safe. So something that does happen is two people screw up, whether they fat finger an ability or their pot's on cooldown and they don't realize. If you screwed up one of these elements and you pull in the ads, you would just Petri, and then you would take a summon at the end. So you can see at the end of this, I think the clip cuts short, but they just summon whoever screws it up and they resume as normal. As long as the bulk of the raid gets through and they have warlocks on the other side, they're safe to do so. But again, you couldn't use, probably I would imagine, too many Petris. I don't know if there's Petri rules for World First, but it certainly is for speedrunning. But again, just a tremendous use of engineering and skips to allow them to get this World First. And I know I said a lot, but it's just insane that Progress basically didn't clear any trash beyond Alar's room, and they were able to get this far, and Beef Bar, not skipping any trash, were able to just blend their way through all this trash with Warlock abuse and still only be 40 seconds shy. I mean, these skips must be saving minutes and minutes. But Beef Bar, just with their sheer brute force strategy, were able to keep up. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I had a blast making this. Speedrunning is something I really enjoy and something I've kind of just enjoyed alone for a long time. So I thought I would share the passion and share the love with you guys. So hopefully you guys can get into it as well. If you enjoy this kind of content and you want to see more of it, be sure to let me know in the comments section below. And again, thank you so much for everyone who's been supporting the channel with subscribing and liking and commenting. It means the world to me. I love seeing everyone commenting and enjoying the content. And if you'd like to support the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. If you didn't know, for every new subscriber I get, I donate $1 to a chosen charity of the month. This month we're supporting SANE Australia. So with that said, again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.